The screen of my phone glows cold against my face in the pre-dawn dark.
0.
Not just low, but 0. And then beneath it, the cruel, sterile message. Account access restricted. My thumb scrolls frantically, trying the joint savings, the emergency fund, the account I kept for my small business idea he always laughed about. Restricted. Restricted. Empty. A wave of nausea washes over me, cold and hard. This isn't a bank error. This is deliberate. The air in the bedroom feels suddenly thin, poisonous. I can hear his steady breathing beside me, the oblivious sound of a man sleeping soundly after setting a trap. I slip out of bed, the floorboards protesting with a soft creak. My heart is a frantic bird trapped in my ribs. I creep to the living room, the digital clock on the microwave a harsh red indictment of the hour.
4:17 Uhr nachts.
Too early to call the bank. Too early to call anyone. Just the silence, the empty house, and the terrifying void where my financial life used to be. This can't be real. Yesterday was normal? As normal as our life got. A low hum of polite distance, the careful avoidance of subjects that might lead to disagreement. We'd been circling this drain for months, maybe years. The slow erosion of respect, the tiny barbs hidden in casual conversation, the way his eyes would slide past mine. He built his career meticulously, ruthlessly. I built a life, a home, a small space for myself that I thought was safe. I had my own money, earned it, saved it, had my name on the accounts. Or so I thought. Now, standing here in the dark, the digital zero burning into my vision, I understand. This isn't distance. This is war. And he just fired the first shot. He didn't just want out. He wanted me gone, erased, left with nothing. The man I built a life with, who slept inches from me, had become a stranger capable of this cold, calculated cruelty. The silence of the house feels like the silence after an explosion, before the dust settles and you see the full extent of the damage. I hug myself, shivering. Though the room isn't cold. It's fear, pure and simple, that chills me to the bone. The kind of fear that makes your breath catch in your throat and your muscles lock up. If you've ever felt blindsided by someone you trusted, let me know where you're watching from and what time it is. And if you haven't already, please subscribe, it helps me more than you know. I stand there for a long time, the phone heavy in my hand. The first rays of sun begin to paint the sky gray outside. My mind races, grasping for solutions, finding none. Every automatic payment I have is tied to these accounts. Rent, utilities, my car payment, even the small monthly transfer to my aging mother. All of it suddenly hanging precariously over an abyss. He wakes up later, the usual routine. Shower running, coffee brewing. He doesn't say anything, doesn't look at me differently. It's the performance of a lifetime. The man who just financially kneecapped his wife is humming softly as he makes toast. It's sickening. I watch him from the kitchen doorway, trying to find the person I married in the stranger buttering his bread. There's nothing there but a blank mask. I manage to choke down half a glass of water. My throat feels like sandpaper. He finishes his breakfast, puts the plate in the sink. And then he turns, finally meets my eyes. There's no warmth, no regret. Just a chilling, almost gleeful emptiness. Something wrong, he asks, and the casual tone is like a physical blow. My voice is thin, reedy. My accounts. They're blocked. He leans against the counter, crossing his arms. A slow smile spreads across his face. Not a happy smile. A predator's smile.
Ah, yes.
I took care of that.
You. What?
My mind struggles to catch up to the sheer audacity. I transferred the funds.
Close the joint accounts.
Removed your access to the others, he says it like he's discussing the weather. Didn't think you'd need them anymore. Not really. Need them? How am I supposed to live?
To buy food?
To pay rent. He laughs then. A short, sharp, ugly sound. It echoes in the quiet kitchen, bouncing off the walls we picked out together, the cabinets we filled. That's your problem now, isn't it? He pushes off the counter, heading for the door. Good luck surviving. And he walks out.
Just like that.
leaves me standing in the middle of the kitchen, the silence descending again, heavier this time. The words hang in the air like toxic smoke. Good luck surviving, he meant it as a death sentence. A final act of control, of power. He saw me as small, dependent, easily crushed. He saw me as someone who would fold, disappear, be forced to crawl back or rely on the charity of others. Panic tries to swallow me whole. It gnaws at the edges of my vision, makes the room spin.
How?
How could he do this? Not just the money, but the betrayal. The absolute, callous disregard for my well-being, for everything we built. It feels like a house collapsing around me, beam by beam. I spend the next few days in a blur of cold panic and disbelief. I try calling the bank. Their corporate politeness is like ice. Joint accounts closed by the primary holder. Separate accounts with my name? He'd apparently removed me as an authorized user, using some loophole or clause I never paid attention to. My own money, earned and saved over years, locked away behind a wall built by the man who swore to protect me. It's Kafkaesque. It's infuriating. I try to access credit cards. Many are tied to the joint accounts, suddenly useless. The few with just my name have low limits, quickly maxed out on essentials, a few days of groceries, enough gas to get around. The car insurance payment is due next week. The rent the week after. Every bill, every necessity, becomes a looming monster. Humiliation is a constant companion. I have to borrow $20 from a friend just to buy cat food. I cancel subscriptions, turn off lights, eat ramen for every meal. The small emergency fund I'd secretly started for my startup idea, tucked away in a minor account he didn't know about? A pathetic $300. Enough for maybe a week, if I'm careful. Careful is an understatement. I count every penny, analyze every potential expense. The sheer mental energy it takes to just exist is exhausting. He calls a few times. Not to apologize, not to offer help.
To rub it in.
To ask if I've figured things out yet, the laughter thinly veiled. He sends lawyers' letters, cold and formal, demanding I vacate the apartment, listing possessions. He's not just taking my money, he's trying to erase my existence from our shared life, to make me homeless and destitute. His cruelty is breathtaking. It's not just about ending the marriage, it's about absolute destruction. He wants to break me. He wants me to fail. The fear starts to curdle into something else. Something hard and cold. Anger. A pure, white-hot rage that starts in my gut and spreads like wildfire. Every ramen noodle, every canceled plan, every moment of gnawing anxiety is fuel for this fire. He thought he was starving me out. He was actually feeding something deep inside me that I didn't know was there. Resilience. A refusal to be broken. I start to think. Really think. What do I have left? Not much in terms of tangible assets. But I have my mind. I have my skills. I have that small, ridiculous startup idea, he mocked, a niche consulting service for businesses struggling with digital transformation, built on years of experience in the corporate world that he always belittled after I left my job. He called it a hobby. He said I was playing at business. Playing? He wants me to play?
Fine.
Let's play. The turning point isn't a sudden epiphany. It's a slow, cold calcification of my resolve. Each day of struggle, each condescending email from his lawyer, each mocking thought I imagine him having, hardens me. I stop panicking. I stop feeling sorry for myself. I start seeing clearly. His greatest weapon is his control over resources, his network, his perceived power. But that's also where he is vulnerable. He's built an empire on connections and money. What happens if you attack the foundations? My startup idea, the one he laughed at, suddenly doesn't feel ridiculous anymore. It feels like a lifeline. It feels like a weapon. It's the only thing I have that is entirely mine, untouched by him, built from my own mind and experience. It's small, embryonic, but it's real. I start working on it with a fierce, singular focus. Every waking hour is spent refining the business plan, reaching out to old contacts, building a minimum viable service. I work from coffee shops because I can't afford to run the electricity all day at home. I use free Wi-Fi, scavenge for discarded newspapers for leads, live on instant coffee, and the cheapest food imaginable. Hunger is a constant ache, but it's duller than the ache of betrayal. My few $100s dwindle fast. The car insurance is paid, but the rent is a mountain I can't see over. Eviction notices start appearing, polite at first, then increasingly stern. The isolation is crushing. I can't afford to go out, can barely afford my phone bill. My world shrinks to the size of my desperation and the glowing screen of my cheap laptop. His moves become more aggressive. He files for divorce, the papers arriving like another punch to the gut. He contests everything, demands the apartment be sold, offers a pittance for a settlement, citing my lack of financial contribution since I left my job, conveniently ignoring the years before that and the entire structure of our shared life. His goal is clear: leave me with nothing, legally binding the poverty he tried to impose. I can't afford a good lawyer. I find a legal aid clinic, spend hours waiting in uncomfortable chairs, explaining my situation to sympathetic but overworked strangers. The wheels of justice turn slowly, expensively. My case is complex, involving hidden assets, deliberately blocked funds. They tell me it could take months, maybe a year, just to get a hearing, let alone access any funds. A year? I don't have a year. I barely have a week. The pressure mounts. The landlord is threatening legal action. My car is almost out of gas, and I have no money for more. I haven't had a proper meal in days. My clothes are getting thin. I feel the edges of my carefully constructed composure starting to fray. He is winning. His plan is working. He is starving me out, cornering me, systematically dismantling my life. One night, huddled under a thin blanket because I'm trying to save on heating, the hunger a sharp pain in my stomach, I feel it. The despair. A deep, cold, suffocating blanket of it. What am I doing? This is hopeless. He has all the power, all the resources, all the connections. I am alone, broke, facing eviction, facing ruin. A thought flickers, dark and tempting. What if I just stopped? Gave up? Called him? Begged for mercy? Maybe he'd throw me a bone, a small settlement, just enough to disappear quietly.
No.
The thought is repulsive. It tastes like ash. Begging? From him? The man who laughed and told me to survive.
No.
Absolutely not. In that moment, something shifts. The despair doesn't disappear, but it's joined by an icy clarity. Surrender isn't an option. Failure isn't an option. Not because I have some noble purpose, but because the alternative is accepting his victory, his narrative of my worthlessness. I won't give him that satisfaction. I look at my laptop screen, the half-finished business plan glowing faintly in the dark room. This small, fragile thing is all I have. It has to work. It will work. Not just to survive, but to thrive. To build something he can't touch, can't take away, can't mock. Something that proves him wrong in the most undeniable way possible. My target market for the consulting service? Large corporations struggling to adapt to new tech, burdened by legacy systems and outdated processes. The kind of clients he deals with at his own prestigious firm. The kind of clients he values most. An idea starts to form, sharp and dangerous. What if I targeted his clients? Not just a client, but the client. His biggest one. The one he bragged about. The one that represented a significant chunk of his firm's revenue and prestige. Acme Corporation. Acme Corp is a behemoth. Landing them would be impossible for a solo operation run out of coffee shops. It would be laughable. It would require resources, connections, a track record I don't have. But Acme Corp was known to be struggling internally with the exact kind of digital transformation I specialized in. They were large, bureaucratic, slow to change. And my husband's firm? They handled Acme Corp's traditional business, mergers, acquisitions, legal. They didn't do the kind of nitty-gritty operational consulting I was building my service around. There was a gap. A tiny, almost invisible gap. And he knew Acme Corp inside and out. He had contacts there. He understood their internal politics, their pain points. He probably talked about them constantly, oblivious that I was absorbing details, filing them away. The rage solidifies into focus. The hunger is still there, the fear too, but they are background noise now. My entire being narrows to a single point: Acme Corporation. I will get that client, not just to survive.
To win.
To show him that his attempt to destroy me only gave me the clarity and desperation I needed to build something far stronger than he ever imagined. I pull the laptop closer. The cold room disappears. The hunger fades. There is only the screen, the data, the challenge. He gave me nothing and told me to survive. I will survive by taking something precious from him, something he thought was untouchable. I start digging. Using my dwindling data plan, I scour news articles, industry reports, LinkedIn profiles. Who are the key players at Acme Corp responsible for this digital transformation push? What are their stated goals? What are their known frustrations? I piece together a picture, like a detective building a case. I look for internal champions at Acme Corp, people who might be frustrated with the slow pace of change, people who might be open to an unconventional solution. I identify a few names, cross-reference contacts. It's a long shot, a near impossibility, but it's the only shot I have. I draft proposal after proposal, refining my pitch. How can a solo consultant offer value to a company the size of Acme Corp? I focus on agility, specialization, a fresh perspective unburdened by the inertia of larger firms. I highlight my unique expertise, the kind he dismissed. Funding is the next hurdle. I need a professional presentation, maybe a small office space for meetings, reliable internet, maybe even just enough money to buy decent clothes and take a client out for coffee. The legal aid clinic helps with basic divorce strategy, but they can't fund my business. Friends and family have helped as much as they can, but they can't bankroll this. I consider desperate measures. Payday loans? Selling what few valuables I have left. Nothing seems sufficient or sustainable. Then a long-forgotten connection surfaces. An old mentor from my corporate days. Someone who always believed in my capabilities, someone who had since become a successful angel investor focusing on niche consulting. I reach out, explaining my situation in broad strokes, the need for a fresh start, a unique opportunity, the potential for high returns, leaving out the ugly details of the betrayal. I pitch my Acme Corp strategy, the niche I'm targeting, the research I've done. It's a bold pitch, maybe reckless. I frame the impossibility as an advantage. Only someone outside the system could see the problem so clearly, move so quickly. My mentor is intrigued. She remembers my work ethic, my analytical skills. She asks tough questions, pokes holes in my plan, but she sees the potential. And maybe, just maybe, she sees the fire in my eyes, the desperate need for this to succeed. She doesn't give me millions. She offers a small, crucial seed investment. Enough to secure a virtual office address, professional email, build a polished website, and, crucially, have a small budget for travel and meetings. It's a lifeline, but a fragile one. There's no room for error. With the funds secured, however small, my focus sharpens further. I polish the Acme Corp pitch deck until it gleams. I practice articulating my value proposition until it feels natural, powerful. I use every ounce of my past experience, every observation I ever made about the corporate world, about power dynamics, about what makes large organizations tick. I start reaching out to the contacts I identified at Acme Corporation. It's a slow, frustrating process. Emails go unanswered. Calls are screened. I face rejection after rejection. But I persist. I tailor each message, referencing their specific public statements or challenges, showing I've done my homework, offering a concrete, albeit unconventional, solution. Then, a flicker of hope. One of the contacts, a mid-level manager responsible for a particularly troubled internal project, responds. They're facing immense pressure, hitting roadblocks with traditional approaches. They're willing to take a preliminary call. The call goes well. I speak their language, acknowledge their pain points, propose a targeted, results-oriented approach.
I don't oversell.
I emphasize partnership, flexibility, proving value quickly. They are cautiously optimistic. They agree to an in-person meeting. This meeting is everything. I use some of the seed money for a new, professional outfit. I book a small conference room at the virtual office space. I rehearse my presentation endlessly. I am not just selling a service. I am selling my capability, my resilience, my ability to deliver despite everything. I walk into that meeting room feeling a strange mix of terror and exhilaration. This is it, the turning point. The meeting is tense. They are senior executives from Acme Corp, sharp, skeptical, accustomed to dealing with large, established firms. I am just one person, but I am prepared. I answer their questions directly, confidently. I demonstrate a deep understanding of their specific challenges. I show them exactly how my specialized approach can cut through their bureaucracy and deliver results faster and more effectively than their current methods. I talk about their internal silos, their outdated tech infrastructure, the resistance to change from within. These are things I knew from my research, from my husband's unwitting insights over the years. It feels almost surreal, using the knowledge gleaned from his world to build my own, to potentially dismantle a piece of his. I address the elephant in the room, my size. I turn it into an advantage. We're not a large firm with layers of bureaucracy, I tell them. We're agile. We're focused. You get senior-level expertise delivered directly, without the overhead or the internal politics. I make a bold promise, a pilot project with clear, measurable goals, delivered within an aggressive timeline. If I fail, they owe me nothing beyond basic expenses. If I succeed, we discuss a larger contract. It's a high-stakes gamble, but it's the only way to earn their trust. They deliberate, ask more questions. The air is thick with unspoken assessment. Finally, the lead executive nods slowly. Your proposal is unconventional, she says, but compelling. We like your understanding of our challenges and your willingness to put skin in the game. They agree to the pilot project, a small, focused contract with a tight deadline. It's not the whole enchilada, not yet, but it's the foot in the door. It's a chance to prove everything he said about me was wrong, a chance to build something real, a chance to survive, and then some. Leaving that meeting, I feel a surge of adrenaline mixed with sheer exhaustion. It's a tiny victory, hard one, but it feels enormous. I have a contract, a real contract with a major corporation. It's just a pilot, barely enough to cover my costs if I'm not careful, but it's a start. It's a crack in the wall he built. I throw myself into the pilot project with everything I have. It's weeks of relentless work. Late nights fueled by cheap coffee and fierce determination. Navigating Acme Corp's internal systems is a challenge. Managing the stakeholders, who were initially skeptical, requires patience and persistence. I face setbacks, technical glitches, internal resistance. But I push through. I use the structure I designed, the methodologies I developed. I deliver tangible results, hitting the agreed-upon milestones ahead of schedule. The Acme Corp team is impressed. The mid-level manager, who gave me the initial chance, becomes an internal champion, singing my praises. The senior executives see the data, the progress, the potential. The pilot project is a success. Now comes the next step, the big contract, the one that would secure my financial future, validate everything I'd struggled for, and represent a significant loss for his firm. Acme Corp needs more extensive digital transformation work across multiple divisions. They need a partner who is nimble, effective, and understands their unique culture. I've proven I can be that partner. Negotiating the larger contract is nerve-wracking. I'm no longer the desperate individual scraping by. I'm a proven vendor with a successful pilot project under my belt. But I'm still small. I bring in my mentor for advice, leverage her experience in structuring these deals. I know my worth. I know the value I bring that his firm couldn't. The negotiations are tough, but fair. Acme Corp sees the benefit of my specialized approach compared to the overhead and generalist services offered by larger firms. We reach an agreement. A multi-year contract, significant in scope, covering critical aspects of their digital transformation. It's a game changer. It's more than enough to cover my living expenses, scale up my business, and finally, hire a good lawyer for the divorce proceedings.
The contract is signed. The ink is dry.
I hold the physical copy in my hands, the heavy paper grounding me. This isn't just a piece of paper. It's proof. Proof that I survived. Proof that I built something from nothing. Proof that he was wrong. The divorce proceedings are still grinding on, slow and painful. His lawyers are aggressive, trying to delay, to wear me down. But now I have resources. I hire a formidable lawyer, one who specializes in complex financial cases. We start fighting back, challenging his asset transfers, his attempts to hide funds, his claims. He is confident, arrogant. He believes he still holds all the cards. He thinks my little hobby is irrelevant. He has no idea about Acme Corporation. No one outside of the key players at Acme and myself know about the signed contract. It's been kept quiet, a strategic decision during negotiations. His firm is pitching Acme Corp for unrelated legal services, a renewal of a long-standing contract. My lawyer gets wind of it, a small detail in one of the many documents exchanged. It's perfect timing. The day comes. I don't need to be there in person, but my lawyer advises it. A mediation session, a chance to discuss settlement terms one last time before a potential trial. He is there with his lawyer, radiating smug confidence. He hasn't seen me in a few months, not really. Just glimpses in court corridors. He probably expects to see someone broken, defeated. I walk in, my head held high. I'm wearing the suit I bought for the Acme court meeting, tailored now, fitting perfectly. I'm not starving anymore. There's color in my cheeks. There's a quiet strength in my posture. He notices. The smugness flickers, replaced by a flicker of surprise, then annoyance. The mediation room is sterile, neutral territory. The mediator, a calm, experienced professional, lays out the process. We go back and forth on assets, properties, finances. His lawyer presents their terms, the same lowball offer, based on the premise of my financial dependency and lack of current income. They assume I'm desperate. My lawyer listens patiently. Then it's our turn. My client rejects the proposed settlement. My lawyer states, voice calm but firm. The valuation of assets is incorrect, and it does not account for her current financial standing. His lawyer scoffs. Current financial standing? Based on what? A few small consulting gigs. My lawyer smiles. It's not a warm smile. It's the smile of a predator who knows the trap has sprung. Based on a significant, multi-year contract. With Acme Corporation. The air in the room freezes. His lawyer's face goes blank, then contorts in confusion. My husband, who had been leaning back in his chair, looking bored, snaps forward. His eyes, which had been dismissive, are suddenly wide, searching mine. Acme Corp, he stammers. My lawyer doesn't give him a chance to process.
Yes.
My client's firm, my company name, has been awarded a major consulting contract for their digital transformation initiative. Effective immediately. A contract that, I might add, represents a significant investment by Acme Corp in a crucial area of their business. An area where, interestingly, your client's firm was less competitive. He pales. He understands immediately. Acme Corporation. His biggest client. The one he relied on. The one he talked about endlessly. The one he thought was firmly in his orbit. And my startup, the hobby he laughed at, had just secured a major contract with them. Not just any contract, but one in a high-growth area he had no access to, effectively deepening my relationship with Acme Corp while highlighting his firm's limitations. The color drains from his face. His jaw works, but no sound comes out. His lawyer is frantically flipping through papers, trying to grasp the implications. A major client awarding a multi-year contract to a new vendor? That signaled a shift. It signaled trust. It signaled a relationship that could potentially expand, maybe even encroach on other areas his firm handled. That's impossible, he whispers, not to his lawyer, but to himself. They would never. They did, I say, my voice quiet. I look him directly in the eye. There's no triumph in my tone, Just a simple statement of fact. The cold anger I felt for months has dissipated, replaced by a quiet, deep satisfaction. He tried to bury me. I grew. He slams his fist on the table. The sudden noise makes everyone jump. You did this, he screams, pointing at me, his face contorted in a mask of rage and disbelief. The carefully constructed mask of indifference he'd worn for months shatters completely. The smug predator is gone, replaced by a cornered animal. You blocked my accounts, I say, still quiet. You told me to good luck surviving. This is me. Surviving. His scream is raw, animalistic. They were our accounts. My client. You can't just take them. I didn't take their accounts, I correct calmly. I won their business. Legally. Fairly. Something, perhaps, you've forgotten how to do. His lawyer tries to calm him, hissing in his ear, but he's beyond reason. He's seeing his world crumble. He's seeing the direct consequence of his cruelty staring him in the face, not broken and begging, but standing tall, holding the keys to his kingdom. He thought he was setting a trap. He walked into one of his own making. He tried to starve me, and I ate his lunch. The mediation session effectively ends there. He is in shock, raging. His lawyer is trying to salvage the situation, already pivoting to damage control. My lawyer is simply watching, a small, knowing smile playing on her lips. The power dynamic in the room has completely shifted. The divorce settlement negotiations changed dramatically after that. With proof of my significant income and earning potential through the Acme Corp contract, his claims of my dependency hold no water. We negotiate from a position of strength. I don't take him for everything he's worth. I don't need to. I just need what is fair, what is rightfully mine, and the freedom to continue building my life. He fights, of course, fueled by bitterness and humiliation. He tries to damage my reputation with Acme Corp, suggesting I used unethical means. But my lawyer is prepared. We have documentation, clean contracts, a successful track record on the pilot project. Acme Corp stands by me. They value results, and I delivered. His attempts backfire, making him look desperate and petty. The divorce is finalized months later. It's not a celebration. It's an ending. A chapter closed. I walk out of the courthouse not feeling triumphant, but free, lighter. The heavy cloak of his control, his cruelty, his expectations is lifted. My startup grows. The Acme Corp contract is a springboard, opening doors to other major clients. I hire a small team, bright, dedicated people who believe in the work we do. I have an office now, a small, functional space filled with the hum of productivity.
I'm financially secure.
More than secure. I'm building something lasting, something meaningful. It's built on my own merit, my own hard work, my own resilience. It's built on the ashes of what he tried to destroy. Sometimes I think back to that morning, standing in the dark kitchen, seeing the 0 on my phone, hearing his cruel laugh. Good luck surviving. Those words echo sometimes, not with bitterness anymore, but with a strange sense of gratitude. He thought he was ending me. He was actually setting me free. He forced me to confront my own strength, to build my own foundation, brick by painful brick. He lost more than money. He lost his client, yes, but he lost control. He lost the narrative. He thought he was the powerful one, the architect of my ruin. He didn't realize that by stripping everything away, he was giving me the ultimate freedom, the freedom to build a life entirely on my own terms, without his shadow, without his permission, without his belief, and ultimately far bigger than anything he ever thought I was capable of. Survival wasn't the goal. Thriving was. And I didn't just survive. I flourished. And the man who told me good luck doing it? He just got to watch. If you've ever had to build your life back from 0, tell me your story in the comments. I read all of them. And if you found strength in this one, please subscribe. It helps bring more stories like this to life.